No, that um the ayahuasca I was talking about, its false lying signs and wonders, like Paul talked about in Second Thessalonians, and that's 100% true. So um Satan uses these psychedelics, and cannabis is one as well, but although it's more mild. However, it used to give me flashbacks to ayahuasca, so eventually I got convicted of using it, and it wasn't like I was radically transformed like overnight, like some people are in terms of my healing. It was a walk, and it was a walk that happened over a number of years. But anyway, some of the things I saw when I took ayahuasca was oh, they show you the colors and the pyramids, and then they scan your body. And I was able to talk to the campfire, grandfather campfire, as the witch who ran our ceremony called it. Um, I do call her a witch because she was 100% a witch. I didn't realize it at the time. She called herself a shaman. But in occult circles and new age circles, they distinguish between white magic and black magic because they think that it matters if you have a good intention. Well, that's not actually true because God remains holy, and He is the arbiter of what is right and what is wrong. And all magic is black magic. Uh, it's all wicked. It's all evil. And so, um, also, one of the things that happened in the last weekend that I did it, and I did ayahuasca over about a year and a half period of time, and probably about 9 to 12 ceremonies. I don't really remember. But my third eye opened. And this is something that is kind of coveted in the New Age movement. And I thought, oh, this is so interesting, like, but yeah, it might be interesting, but what you're doing is you're opening yourself to demonic oppression. I had no idea at the time how dangerous ayahuasca is. It's real. The spirit world is 100% real, but all I can think is back to that period of my life is that God was keeping me. He was with me. He was keeping me from harm, because ayahuasca is an incredibly dangerous substance. And it's also a selfish act because I was trying to heal myself. It was all about me. It wasn't about me serving other people or me being there for other people, because when you're in a state of depression, anxiety, and this kind of thing, it really is a selfish state. And you're seeking out this knowledge, and it is the knowledge of the tree of good and evil. It goes all the way back to Genesis. I mean, there's an, um it's not a coincidence that uh, our original fall was because we wanted that knowledge, we wanted that truth, and that is what it offers, is a false truth, a counterfeit truth. In fact, it's a counterfeit of the Holy Spirit. So there's only two types of spirits. There's the Holy Spirit, and then all the other ones, which are demonic, and they all work for Satan. And so I bet you can guess which one is in operation with ayahuasca. It's definitely they're working for Satan. And they showed me supposedly a past life. And I know there are some Christians who believe in reincarnation. I'm not sure where I sit on that. I've seen some evidence of it, and I know that that's sacrilege to a lot of Christians to say that, but I'm not going to go into that right now. However, I was shown a past life with my husband, and we were on some 1600s wooden great ship, and I was 9 months pregnant, and I fell down the deck, and I fell like, over 100 feet down the deck and slammed into the edge of the boat, the gunwale of the boat, and I miscarried it like very late in pregnancy or something like that, and it was extremely painful. I think the demons took that opportunity to torture me on that particular weekend, and it was just physically wrenching and emotionally wrenching. And but this is what you're opening the door to when you choose to submit to these false gods, to these demons, because you are literally inviting them in. You're inviting them into your life for them to oppress you, and you're also inviting them into your family's life. Like if you have children, or if you have a husband. I didn't have children yet, but I had a husband, and so it's like you're just inviting these spirits into your life, and you have no protection. Although thank God I did, literally. The other thing is that it's this seduction. Um, it's so seducing to see um this the first ayahuasca ceremony I was in this black velvet cave. I didn't really see anything, but I was aware of water flowing, and there was a song uh being sung that was they're called icaros, I believe. And it was a love song. It was in Spanish. I don't speak Spanish. I speak a little bit of travel Spanish, but it didn't matter because the music itself is, of course, very powerful and it carries the spirits along. And it was like, oh, um, I felt more love and light than I ever had in my life. And it was like I felt the love of the mother and being inside of her womb. When I say her, I mean Pachamama, the Gaia figure, which is it's a worship of a female god, the so-called divine feminine. And we see this a lot now. I mean, shoot, just go to Starbucks for your latte, and there you go. You got the picture of Ishtar, the picture of the divine goddess. And specifically, they brought her in. When I say they, I mean Satan and his minions. They brought her in for the end times that we are living in because she is in direct contradiction to the father. And in the Bible, she's talked about as Jezebel, and Jezebel is an evil queen who is a sexual spirit, and I'll talk about that in a minute in its relation to ayahuasca and the witch that was running these ceremonies. And she takes advantage of the weak king, the weak father. So like we've rejected God, the patriarchal society, the evil patriarchal society. And there's a reason for that. There's spirits behind wokeness and behind the evil that we see being perpetrated and being brought out in the open. Because of course, the meaning of the word occult is hidden knowledge. But now, according to the Bible, all that is hidden in Luke, everything will come to light. And that, I think that's why there is a great awakening. And I hope and pray there is a great harvest. I think there's a reason why we're still here. And it's because Jesus isn't done yet. And he has mercy and he has forgiveness and he has given his children all the time in the world and all the chances in the world. But that being said, we're at the 1 hour to midnight. We're very late in the game in terms of your walk with Christ and accepting Christ. And I find it interesting that as of late, I think it was last year, the Pope, who's obviously a false prophet, is he the false prophet? Who knows? But he paid homage to Pachamama, and he's going to be one of the people anyway that brings in this false new world religion, because of which this goddess shamanic worship, demonic worship is going to be part of it. And I wanted to talk a little bit about I was given some demonic powers from the ayahuasca, because I talked about the seduction of it all, and you get to ride along with the music, and you're shown the magic inner workings of the universe and your past lives and all this knowledge. And it's really pretty much either about yourself, or it's like to satisfy your own kind of selfish and curiosity. I mean, we are curious as human beings. It's definitely gets us into trouble at times. But after I got back, I was so I did like 3 or 4 separate weekends of this ayahuasca. And when I came back, I would sleep for a couple weeks, right? But then like the insomnia would always return. Like I'd be kind of in a semi-trance state when I came back. And one of the last times I did it, when I came back, I actually was given a demonic power temporarily. What do I mean by that? It sounds kind of dramatic and crazy. I was walking my dog out in the woods at the end of my street. And I found that when I was going along, and I kept saying to myself, oh, I'm a goddess, because that's what these demons want you to believe, is that you're the divine one, you are perfect, you have the kingdom within, and you don't need Jesus. I mean, anything that like keeps you away from Jesus, they don't care, like what the nature of the deception is, as long as they keep you away from God and Jesus, right? The true God. So I found that I could move plants with my hands. I mean, literally, like I'm going down, and then there's these little saplings and these little bushes by the side of the trail where I walk my dog. And I could take my hands and I literally could get them to move back and forth. And forward and back, left and right, using the energy through my hands. And it only lasted for maybe like about a week, something like that. But I was like, oh, like I have this power. I'm not a real power hungry person, but I am a knowledge hungry person. So it wasn't like I was like, oh, I'm going to be the ruler of the world or something like that. But it was that seduction that, oh, I was given this power because I'm a goddess and because I'm so special and I'm so divine. And it's such a lie. It's such a lie. And it's so deceptive. And I can see why people get lost in it, especially when, you're talking about someone who, for a lifetime, my whole life, I had been depressed and feeling lonely and feeling like I didn't fit in here. Well, of course we don't fit in here. We don't fit in here because this is not our home. This is for somebody who knows Jesus, whom I now know, this place is hell. And we're looking forward to heaven. But it's the opposite for somebody who is an atheist. And I used to be an atheist, which is that this place is the best it's ever going to get. Well, of course you're anxious and depressed because not only have you been attacked your whole life by the enemy, but you think there's something very wrong here. There's something very wrong with this world. And of course, that belief has only been further verified and accelerated in the last 3 years of our lives here, right? Because the Antichrist is getting ready to come in. Although the move of God is going to be greater, and we know how the story ends, right? Like, so we're not supposed to be afraid. We're called not to be afraid. But this witch that ran the ceremonies, and I want to talk about her for a little bit because that is what she was. And it was crazy too because she had this very ice cold look in her eyes. But there were several things that as she evolved, because I was in ceremonies with her before in another state and then later, so I kind of saw the evolution of her walk down to a darker path. And it's interesting because there were several things that she encouraged us to do. There was like an extra credit class in between the ayahuasca ceremonies because you're up all night, right? And then you're kind of tired, but then people wake up in the afternoon. And then she had some sessions in the afternoon on Saturday where she was teaching us various things. And one of the things that she encouraged us to do was set up an altar, which is interesting. I looked up the meaning of the word altar. An altar is a sacrifice to the God, and it is the God of Pachamama. It's creation worship. It's mother divine feminine worship. And the other thing, she actually encouraged us to have open relationships with our boyfriends, with our spouses, which that was kind of like my wake up call. I know that after all this stuff happened, like it's kind of ridiculous for me to say, oh, well, that was my wake up call. I mean, it's like, hello, Melissa. Maybe I should have woken up a little bit earlier to the fact that this whole thing was demonic and scary. But as it was, that was like when she told me that I should have an open relationship with my husband, I was thinking to myself, oh, this chick has to be nuts. I'm like, no, I am not doing that.